Yeah, a few students they have asked the doubt with respect to the tepal. Well, you should know that when the calyx and corolla, when they are not distinct, meaning what, when they are not, you will see that those both the whorls are absent. Instead of them, you will have one more whorl, that is perianth. You generally observe it in the lily flower, and here you should remember perianth is a whorl, whereas the tepals are the individual members of the perianth. Okay, and one more doubt with respect to actinomorphic. I said actinomorphic symmetry, or a regular, or you can say the radial symmetry, where the flowers can be cut into two similar or equal halves by any plane, by any vertical plane passing through the center. We call it as actinomorphic flower. Example is mustard, datura, and chili. Okay, this is the symbol, right? Actinomorphic. When I explain the floral diagram and floral formula, I'll explain the symbols related to each of them. Now, for now, you need not worry, but I have just given the information. Okay, so this is the symbol generally used to represent the actinomorphic condition. Okay, so mustard, datura, and chili are the example for actinomorphic flower. Actinomorphic flower. Whereas the example for zygomorphic flower, zygomorphic flowers is the bilateral symmetry, what we call. Bilateral symmetry example, it is the P, bean, cassia, and gulmohar. P, B, cassia, gulmohar. Okay, these are the remember for zygomorphic, whereas asymmetric flower or irregular flower example is canna. Okay, one actinomorphic flower, second zygomorphic, third is canna. Now, one more student, he has asked the doubt with the last part of the class of the essential notes. Now, position of ovary on the thalamus, it changes. The relative position of the ovary with respect to the thalamus, it changes. It is never constant. Now, the floral parts such as the calyx, corolla and androecium, they are changing with respect to the gynoecium. Remember this. Now, if the gynoecium is above the floral parts or floral organs, if the floral organs are present below the gynoecium, this is a gynoecium, and all the floral parts are present below this. This condition we call it as the hypogynous condition. Okay, this condition we call it as hypogynous. Whereas the perigynous, whereas the perigynous condition, you will see that the ovary, the other floral parts, they are at the same level. They are at the same level. We call it as perigynous. Okay, plum, peach, and rose are the example for this. And at the last, if you see that the ovary is situated below and it is fused with the thalamus, and all the floral parts, they are above the ovary. Such situation we call it as the epigynous, where the ovary is said to be inferior. So this is inferior ovary. This is the half inferior, and this is the superior ovary. Okay, this is the superior ovary. Hypogynous, perigynous, this is epigynous. And this is epi. Example, already I have said it, very important example for hypogynous. You can consider the examples of mustard, brinjal, C for cassia, P for petunia. Okay, whereas for perigynous, the examples are plum, peach, and rose. Example for the perigynous. And epigynous, guava, cucumber, then bitter gourd, and ray florets of sunflower. So these are the position of ovary with respect to thalamus. Okay, position of floral parts on the thalamus. So how it is with relative to ovary. Remember this. If the ovary is above and all the floral parts are below, we call it as hypo. And when it is at the same level, we call it as peri. And when it is below, like all the floral parts are above and ovary is below, we call it as the epigynous. Now, when the floral, one more doubt to ask my student. When the floral appendages or whorls are present in multiple of 3, in multiple of 3, such flowers we call it as trimerous. Trimerous flowers. Trimerous flowers. When the floral appendages are in the multiple of 4, we call it as tetramerous, meaning 4. And when the floral appendages are present in the multiple of 5, we call it as pentamerous. Pentamerous. Okay, I said the characteristic feature of monocotyledons is that they have trimerous flowers, whereas the pentamerous flowers are generally observed with respect to the angiosperms. Example for the trimerous, you can consider monocotyledons that onion, alien sepa, whereas the dicotyledons, all the dicotyledons, mango, whatever the plants are there, they are all pentamerous. And for tetramerous, you can consider the example of mustard. Okay, this is onion, and you can consider example pea. Okay, pea. Thank you.
is Perianth ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
One of the student asked about monoclematis and diclematis flowers. Monoclematis flowers having a single set of filaments. There we cannot find differentiated calyx and corolla. It is monoclematis. One more is diclematis. The meaning of diclematis is where calyx and corolla are differentiated. That is a complete flower. The flower having all 4 holes separately. It is diclematis. Okay, hibiscus is the example for this diclematis flower, and lily is an example for monoclematis flower. One more student asking Perianth. What is Perianth? What is Perianth? Perianth is a structure in which petals and sepals are not differentiated. Structure in which sepals and petals are not differentiated. Here, in a flower of onion or lily, we are finding a trimerous flower. We are finding 2 holes here. Both these holes are nothing but calyx and corolla in different flowers, but in this flower with the perianth, we cannot differentiate this as a calyx and this one as a corolla. So both are of same morphology, maybe both are of same size, same color. That is perianth. Then the members of the perianth are called as tepals. Members of the perianth are called as tepals. You know, the members of the calyx are called as sepals, corolla, petals, and both together we call as a perianth. And the members of perianth is a tepals. Number of tepals. Okay.
One of the student has asked the doubt about what is bracteate and ebracteate flower. Bracteate and ebracteate flower. Bracteate flower means, what is that? The highly reduced what? Highly reduced leaf-like appendages. Highly reduced leaf-like appendages which are present below the flower. Highly reduced leaf-like appendages which are produced below the flower. Such flowers are known as what? Bracteate flowers. Example, and bougainvillea. Okay, you can call it as what? A paper plant also. That is a bougainvillea, highly reduced leaf-like appendages which are present below the flower. Okay, that is known as a bracteate. Whereas bracteate, these highly reduced leaf-like appendages are absent. Okay, such flowers are known as what? Ebracteate flowers. Okay, this is about the bracteate and ebracteate.